All right, folks, how you doing? This is the Professor Malik, and I'm here with the Rage and Staging Terrence Stage Man. What's up, buddy?
Not much, Malik, man. I think this is like the first time in like maybe a month and a half or so that I've been on someone else's hangout. Um, so this is probably the first time I've been in someone else's show. Um, so yeah, it's great to be here, and I think this is a been first time in like a while I've been a part of your show. I think the last time I was a part of it was I think you're doing like a top 15 most sluttiest women's wrestlers or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. Yeah, it was a group of us. Yeah.
yeah, so that was the last time it was, but man, it's been a while, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
been a while.
that's cool. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was several months ago. But today we have another one. The top 14 wrestlers who are resentful, or should I say, jealous of The Rock's success. And
Ooh.
we're gonna start. Number 14 is none other than a guy I grew up admiring. He could wrestle, could talk, had the whole package, and wore warrior face paint. And his name, you know him as the man called Sting, real legal name Steve Borden. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
his discrepancy is The Rock is such a beloved and charismatic person that a good portion of the people on this list would later go on to clear up the resentment and make amends with Rocky in due time. In other cases, such as that of Sting, the problem wasn't so much with The Rock as it was a general resentment towards WWE and the pro wrestling community
Oh, okay.
with The
I
Rock.
know which one you're. I
Yeah,
know which one you're talking about. I think it was like a part of his documentary or something like that, where
yeah,
this is around the invasion angle or whatever, and he's seeing like on television that The Rock was like telling Booker T or whatever, oh, who the hell is this guy or whatever the hell it was, and he felt like WWE was burying WCW even though they already bought the company and shit like that.
yeah. That's definitely what this listing is. And the thing is, I'm inclined to agree with Sting in a way because I wouldn't have done that. But like I said, even though The Rock said the words "Who in the blue hell are you?" that was coming from Vince. And the thing is, everybody know every fan in that on that show or at the show at the time knew who Booker T was because those same fans who are now called the Universe were watching Nitro, so everybody knew who Booker T was. So I don't understand why you would do that. I mean, that made no sense, you know. And as you all know, Sting made his debut in WWE at Survivor Series 2004, shocking many fans who never expected to see the WCW franchise player in Vince McMahon's ring. The main reason fans thought this would never happen was that Sting himself had spoken out on the subject, and one of the biggest causes in his decision not to join WWE for so long was, in fact, a promo delivered by The Rock shortly after Booker T debuted in WWE. The Rock one, asked Booker one of his catchphrases, "Who in the blue hell are you?" Of course, Sting felt the comment like this undermined the history of WCW. And he's right, like I said, being a forever WCW supporter myself, I believe it did undermine. But see, that's what Vince McMahon is famous for. Henceforth, why I have so much disdain and hatred for WWE because despite them monopolizing the business and being the top dogs, they don't have respect for the other teams and the other wrestlers out there who you know are not part of the show. So, it stays, man. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, like you said, the problem is that I feel like Vince, and it's been going on for the past 15 years, you know, whether you were a WCW fan or not, or you're just a new fan, you can clearly see that even though Vince has won the war per se, he still likes to bring it up like all the time.
Yeah,
And it's kind of one of those things like, okay, just let it go. You won the war. You own their you own their library. You basically own everything. So why you're still making it a big deal about? Vince McMahon is what I call him, a sore winner. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
he wins and then he's just like, why? You know what I mean?
yep,
It's
yeah.
kind of one of those things, man. You
Well
know,
said.
Vince is a lot of things. He's a genius. He can be a bit out of touch, but he's also a sore winner too.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a genius, at least not anymore. From what I've seen in the past 5 to 10 years, especially what's going on now. But we'll move on. Number 13 is none other than Big Sexy, also known at one time as Diesel. Not all resentment lasts forever, and the extremely brief feud between Kevin Nash and The Rock is a strong example of how quickly people can forgive and forget. The Rock's charisma must have been in play in this scenario, as the problems between the two began when Nash was one of the top stars in WCW, and he started making backstage comments about how he was quicker on the microphone than The Rock. Nash has been boasting for years that he was going to prove it if they ever got in the ring together, but things went a bit differently when they actually squared off. Nash got his chance to best The Rock or beat The Rock actually when they feuded in early 2002. When Nash revived the NWO and WWE, The Rock had heard about the rumors Nash was going to try and trip him up, so The Rock beat him to the punch by calling Nash a Big Daddy bitch, an insult that wasn't in the script. Nash was furious. The Rock got the better of him, but it wasn't long before the two shook hands and forgot about it, as they now appear to be friends today. The keyword being appear to be friends. I'm pretty sure Nash still holds some bad blood deep in his soul, in his black soul. And I don't understand why Nash would be jealous of The Rock, especially all the shit that he pulled in WCW on the younger guys trying to come up. So if you think about it, to me, in my opinion, this is karma. Nash probably, to a lot of wrestlers, Nash probably got what he had coming for a long time. Stage man, what are your thoughts?
It could be that. But again, it's also you can say it's just based on ego, where you have two companies at the time. It kind of felt like a big war, and I can't. Well, I could say that, but at the same time, I wasn't around watching the WWE or WCW around that time. But from the stuff that I've heard from you guys or other fans or even the wrestlers in general, they've always said that during the Monday Night Wars, there's always this big war and part of it's ego. So you know what I mean. So it's
Yep,
just
yeah, and Nash. I think Nash's ego. I think Nash's ego was bigger than his height size. Now, here's a surprise entry to me, which I was kind of shocked to see on the list. Carlito Caribbean Cool is number 12.
what?
Yeah. In addition to being the highest paid man in Hollywood, The Rock also has one of the best physiques of any leading man in the business today. And that doesn't really come as any surprise. Most wrestlers have an incredible training regimen to keep their bodies in top condition, as do action stars. And The Rock's position as both a wrestler and action star means he always keeps himself in peak physical condition. Despite the wrestling industry scrutinized for decades over steroid abuse, The Rock has never come under fire for steroid related problems, except with one minor and surprising exception. Carlito Caribbean Cool spit in the face of the people who were not cool, and apparently one of his pet peeves was steroid use. The Rock headlined WrestleMania 29 in a losing effort against John Cena, terribly injuring himself by tearing his ab and abductor tendons in the process. I remember that, as we all saw.
Yep.
Carlito took to Twitter only a few days later to suggest that these injuries may have been caused by steroids, saying, I guess instead of getting in tremendous shape for Mania, he got in tremendous shape. Tren is a popular steroid, which, for the record, The Rock has never tested positive for using. The Rock also never commented on the accusation, although wrestlers, including Gail Kim, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and MVP, all replied to the tweet by calling it funny. Okay, well, hey, I guess it's a good thing Carlito and The Rock never got in the ring, because I'm pretty sure Rock would have squashed him probably for opening his mouth. So, Terrence, are your thoughts on that?
Again, this is one thing I don't really understand. Some of these wrestlers, sometimes I feel like at some point, whenever you have a guy who's popular or is a big star or whatnot, and let's say, and most of these wrestlers are usually the ones that are out of the company, they sometimes tend to just say random shit just to get attention. And I like Carlito, and I feel like he's an underrated talent.
Yeah,
But again, what he's just saying is just a pure assumption and just pure BS. You know what I mean? Like the man tore his what was it? His arm or whatever the hell it was at WrestleMania 29 in a match against Cena, in a match where was oh my god, different story for a different time. But yeah, it's like it's just one of those things where people tend to just say random shit to those who have a lot more success. I just feel like Carlito tends to feel like he's more of a hater. I sound like Barack Obama. It's just-
Don't worry about it. Hey, like I said, that's surprising. I mean, both Carlito and Rocker, like minorities in the business. He should support him. But like I said, on the real, the more successful any wrestler is or any person is in any business or any field, jealousy will rear its ugly head. And in this case, when it comes to entertainment and money, you
yeah.
know, yeah, the Rock is the Rock is a one of a kind in this millennia. The only wrestler to come along. He's more successful than even Hulk Hogan, I think, was. He's a better actor than Hulk Hogan, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Versatile, because you couldn't see Hogan. The first movie Hogan did was No Holds Barred, and it basically was like watching. I called it WWE the movie. That's when I first saw it. That's what it was. Instead of red, yellow, it was
Yeah,
blue and white.
with Zeus and all that shit. And
You never see
didn't
Hogan do a drama epic or something based on a true story. See, The Rock is versatile. He can do action. He can do comedy. His comedy, to me, wasn't too hot because I saw one of them, and I don't think he's funny. He's not suited for funny. He's suited for action. So anyway, okay, number 11 on the list is the Human Suplex Machine, Taz.
why?
Most of the wrestlers on the list don't have any fair reason to resent The Rock, but at least a few have better arguments than others. Taz is the one superstar who could potentially argue that The Rock outright stole an idea of his, but it's completely possible that The Rock didn't know Taz had already had the idea, and he independently came up with a similar concept. The reality is Taz's idea wasn't wholly original, though no major WWE superstar had done anything like it before. The Taz Show podcast had hosted the Hump Day promos since 2015, allowing fans to call in and cut 45-second promos on various subjects while imitating their favorite wrestlers. I remember this. The link was on C Scoops. Taz is a reasonably popular superstar, and the many listeners of the Taz Show no doubt had fun with the concept, but it goes without saying that not every single wrestling fan instantly became aware of the game. A worldwide superstar like The Rock had never heard of it either, which is why he excitedly announced a similar idea to Instagram in 2016 called hashtag Rock the Promo, which was essentially the exact same thing Taz had been doing on his show. Taz took to Twitter and accused Rock of gimmick infringement. But things were smoothed over in a matter of hours when Rock replied that he didn't even know Taz had a podcast. To Taz's credit, rather than feel slighted by The Rock's ignorance of him, he simply apologized for overreaction and admitted he was merely proud of his show and wanted fair credit. Now, I have two opinions. I think The Rock has heard of the Taz show because I'm pretty sure somebody in the circle probably mentioned it to him. I'm pretty sure he has friends in the wrestling circle who watch wrestling and know who Taz is. On the other hand, Rock could be telling the truth. Despite The Rock's success, I wouldn't put it past him to have a big head and a big ego. He probably does have one because he is the most successful wrestler of our time. 20 million he gets paid per movie. He doesn't need Vince anymore, and he only returns when Vince needs a favor. And I'm pretty sure he's going to call on The Rock next year for WrestleMania again. But Stage Man, what are your thoughts?
Um, I can't really say The Rock has deliberately uh, stolen an idea from Taz, because this is the same guy who openly admitted that the whole jabroni thing wasn't his idea. It was from the Iron Sheik and many other
Okay.
things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, if you can give credit to that, and the whole jabroni thing was one of his shticks that he used to say on the mic, then he can possibly say he didn't really know. You know what I mean? Sure, The Rock tends to know a bit of things that goes on in the wrestling world, and he tends to talk about a wrestling here and there. But for all I know, he just didn't know. So it just may be a one big misunderstanding. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can probably sum it up to one big misunderstanding. But who knows? but who knows? It's either or. It's one guy's word against another. Now, number 10 is gonna give you a chuckle, stage man. Number 10 is Kelly Kelly. And here's my thing.
What? What?
Knowing the way Kelly Kelly came up in the business, the way she had come up, she joined she was 19 years old, and the many guys who she's given it up to who have hit it. My only thing is, The Rock might have hit it, but she felt she didn't get what she wanted out of it, so she's probably jealous and probably pissed. I mean, she gave up a piece of the poontang pie and didn't get a return.
Let me guess. Let me guess. The D was so good that she wanted more, and The Rock just said, "Nope."
Um, I'm just saying that this is okay, but here's the story here. There's a good chance we're projecting a little by claiming Kelly Kelly is flat out resentful of The Rock, but it remains completely fair to say that she has been open about the fact that she highly envies at least one of his movie roles. The Rock is slated to star in an upcoming film adaptation of the popular 90s action comedy series Baywatch, portraying the David Hasselhoff character. Hasselhoff had top billing on the show, but the real draw was Pamela Anderson, whose role will be taken over by supermodel Kelly Rohrbach in the movie. This hasn't stopped the former superstar, now professionally known by her real married name, Barbie Blank Sore, from doing her best to angle for the role. Yeah, I'll bet. Once The Rock's involvement was announced, Kelly Kelly wrote on Twitter, "So, after Rock, I think I would make a great CJ Parker in the new Baywatch movie. Hashtag just saying." Oh, I bet, yeah. Now that things obviously haven't panned out for Blank, it would only be reasonable to imagine her being a little disappointed. Not that The Rock necessarily could even done anything about this or would have wanted to, but it probably stings just a little that the people's champ never even bothered to respond to her on the matter. Okay, now we we can attest. Here's the thing about Kelly Kelly. Her stage married name, because I can't believe her mother named her Barbie Blank when she was born. That's really preposterous and really ignorant. But now, and the blonde hair and the blue eyes, she has the look of a Barbie, and she's obviously blank between the ears. So, so on that note, you know, and hashtag just saying, like I said, I think at one time The Rock hit this, and she wanted to favor it down the road, and I guess this might have been her chance. Might have been her chance. Now the People's Champ, I think, could have done something about it because he has that kind of pull, and they said, would he have wanted to? Probably not, because he probably wouldn't want to be bothered. I mean, who knows? But stage man, your thoughts?
I'm just gonna respond by giving you a Tony Atlas laugh. Okay, I'm done.
Okay,
Tony Atlas is his laugh is kills me. Just like this whole thing.
yeah. I'm guessing now. I don't see why Kelly Kelly's pissed, because she does have her own show outside WWE. It's like I guess you could say a version of Married Celebrities. It was on the E Network. I never watched it, but
Isn't it called Wags or some shit?
yeah, that's it. Wags, yeah, Wags. And that's a good title, because here's the thing: Kelly Kelly, for the most part, probably can't act or shit. So the only thing you'd be paying to see if you saw her in a movie is just to look at her. To watch her act would probably be totally annoying and would probably put you to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So enough said there. Uh, Moving on. Number 9, The Rock Jr.
The Rock Jr.
Yeah. Imitation has been called the greatest form of flattery, but also has been the source of millions of lawsuits. It makes sense that young professionals would want to emulate The Rock in every way imaginable. Considering his widely successful career and ability to completely transcend the industry, however, it should go without saying that there's a line between emulation and flat out gimmick infringement. And there have already been a few so called superstars who skipped over that line without a second thought. Indie wrestlers steal gimmicks from big time personas on a constant basis, and it rarely becomes an issue with the public because no one finds out about it. This is how The Rock Jr. has been getting away from the most blatant ripoff gimmick in wrestling since November of 2015. Despite the fact that he has almost none of the charisma that made Rock a superstar, how exactly he gets away with such blatant theft is unclear, though the fact that Great North Wrestling, the company where Rock Jr. performs, is such a small scale operation probably has something to do with it. Okay, he's an indie wrestler. Yeah, and I see from the side he's holding the microphone, shaved head, glasses, and you can tell it's not The Rock. It's just a wannabe. So, stage man, your thoughts?
Okay. Oh God. Oh dear. Oh dear. Who
Yeah,
exactly?
yeah. It doesn't matter who he is. But
Next.
next, okay, now next is another surprise entry. Number 8 is the man himself, Vince McMahon.
Okay, I can see that, and I can see why he's pissed off because he and this kind of goes back to like the whole thing. Maybe this is one of the reasons why Vince doesn't want to make any new stars, is because he doesn't want people to end up like The Rock. And by, going to do other things elsewhere than the WWE and becoming more famous, maybe again it's more or less about jealousy about his success outside of WWE. So,
And yeah, and The Rock owns the rights to the Rock name because of course, he paid Vince for the licensing, and I'm pretty sure Vince is probably regretting that now. The more fans learn about Vince McMahon, the more it becomes clear that the CEO of WWE is a bizarre and mysterious person. You got that right. That whole family,
oh yeah.
that whole family, I kind of question their sanity and where they really came from. Who has the capacity for great love and great hatred for his superstars at virtually the same time? McMahon has long considered The Rock a friend, and there is no question the boss appreciates every time Dwayne Johnson returns home to WWE and gives Raw or SmackDown Live a nice boost in the ratings. Things aren't perfect between The Rock and McMahon, though, and in fact, they recently got pretty tense after The Rock infamously and openly went off script during a segment on Raw. I remember that. That was probably the best part of that show.
Oh, you mean with the whole
Yeah, the guy
I
ringside,
can.
the guy ringside just like Macho Man.
Oh
You know,
yeah, and Hulk Hogan and shit. That shit
yep,
made me laugh.
that was hilarious. That's one of the
And
few.
the whole wasn't in that also that same segment when he was exposing Lana for him and Lana doing that whole thing with the what was it doing sort of sex
Yeah,
positions and
backstage.
shit
Well,
like that.
backstage, he started dissing Lana, and then of course the New Day came out to try to save face for Vince and tried to diss him, but that didn't work. Yeah, that's the show. The same one. Part of the McMahon's mystery is his confusing relationship with the fans. On display in January of 2016, when four fans dressed as WWE legends were forced to switch seats when they were distracting the audience. Oh my God, I remember that shit too. Due to their seats appearing on the hard camera, The Rock shined a spotlight on the distractions by talking to the fans and even letting them talk into his microphone, all while cameras were rolling. McMahon and other officials were furious. Yep, that's the show, Terrence. Yeah, if anything, if Rock is one of the few, he got him that night, got him good, and didn't even mean to, but it turned out that way. So to me, once again, for Vince McMahon, karma. Vince, you got what you deserve, and hopefully
Yeah.
someday there's more to come. Now, Terrence, the favorite part of the show. Guess who number 7 is?
John Cena.
You guessed it.
Do
Come
do
on
do
down. You're the next
do.
contestant on the YWC is right. It's very
YWC is
possible.
right.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
when does the YWC tends to be right?
It was
Hmm.
just something I threw out there. Uh,
I know. I'm
yeah.
just messing with you.
It's very possible that the success of The Rock will never quite be imitated, although many will try both in WWE and in Hollywood. The one superstar who has even come close to The Rock's crossover appeal is John Cena. The two have naturally spent plenty of time against one another in the ring as a result of their positions at the top of the wrestling industry. Rock and Cena headlined two WrestleManias. That was a bad idea. Tagged together at a Survivor Series and appeared in various segments together ever since. gradually forming a friendship that managed to transcend wrestling just like their careers. Things weren't always perfect between Cena and The Rock, though, as both superstars have gone on record to explain many times since the feud between Cena and The Rock was actually quite real at one point, with tensions flaring after one promo in particular where Cena broke the script to call The Rock out for needing to write notes on his wrists. I remember that as well. Ironically, this was the same sort of tactic Rock used to upset a few others on this list. Eventually, professionalism prevailed, and The Rock was able to make up with Cena sometime after their feud in the ring began to subside. All right, stage man, your thoughts there?
One sec, bro.
Okay. Well, while we wait for the stage man, my thoughts is two guys that both guys are top stars. Of course, The Rock being the better top star, and I think deep down in Cena's mind, he knows this, especially after the promo that Rock did when they first started feuding, when The Rock said, "Obviously, you shop at Baby Gap." That was a good diss. And then in Cleveland, remember that Cleveland Rocks, where Cleveland did a little rap chant to the Queen's "We Will Rock You," which was probably the best ending promo segment to any show. So any professionalism and friendship they might have, I
All
think.
right, I'm
Okay.
back. Here's the thing with this whole Rock and Cena thing, man. Uh, Obviously, this was a thing that was been brewing over the past several years. I believe this is when since The Rock left and Cena made those comments about, oh, how come The Rock's, how come he doesn't stop by and do a segment or something or whatever, and all that kind of shit. There's some jealousy there or whatever. Um, and then things just escalated a little bit more once The Rock came back and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there was some jealousy there, and Cena. The argument was this guy likes WWE and all that kind of stuff, but yet he wouldn't even bother like showing up for like 7 years about not doing anything or some shit. Um, and you know what? Again, this is more or less about jealousy and all that kind of crap. And their friends are acquaintances now, and I do agree that Cena hasn't really made as much success as The Rock has. Um, Cena. Okay, The Rock is one of the greatest of all time. Cena is up there in a lot of ways. But yeah, it's just more or less about jealousy.
Yeah, and also speaking of Cena, Terrence, did you watch the debut of Total Bellas?
Oh yeah, I seen it.
Okay, yeah,
Cena made me laugh so hard, man. He was
yeah,
like, oh.
yeah. But I'm saying that might be funny to you, but if you had to live with him, could you live with all those rules? Because the first thing I'd have said, baby, let's get a hotel. I don't like this. I mean, who the hell says who the hell says it's mandatory to have evening coffee every evening? Maybe I don't like coffee. Yeah, well,
I'm
you,
not a coffee guy. I'm not a coffee guy myself. I don't drink coffee at all. I'm
me
more of
neither.
a
You know,
I'm a tea guy.
if you want to drink coffee, have evening coffee. You go right ahead. I'm going to the movies or I'm going to the bar or something. I'm gonna, I mean, damn, kind of, kind of shit
I
is that?
think I I think it's just because maybe there's people like that out there who may did not have as much as the stuff that they do now, and they tend to like right now. I think they said at the beginning of the show that Cena, when he was younger, didn't really have that much of a better upbringing, I suppose, and they tend to appreciate the finer things in life, which is understandable. But man, those rules.
Yeah, because my boy
That's
Leon, yeah, our boy Leon, I want to send a shout out to Scorpion Death Drop. He did a review, yeah, and the review was right on. Total Bellas was total fucking shit.
I wouldn't really say it's shit though.
Okay.
I know a lot of people said it was shit. I'm not gonna say it's the greatest thing in the world either. Um, it did kept my interest, I suppose. Like I've seen the show. I may watch it again. So
The keyword you
I'm
may
not
watch, yeah. I watched it. I almost fell
I
asleep. I struggled to stay awake. Once again, it's like watching an hour a bad 1 hour of Raw. But I watched it. I'm like, I'm just my face was just like, huh? Are
No,
you
the thing
serious?
that was cringy, the thing that was so cringy was when you have the one of the Bella's moms actually talking about how she actually did it with John Laurinaitis the night before, and I'm like saying to myself, "Wow, some mother is actually telling her kids that she had sex last night." The fuck?
Yeah, and that's I think I totally missed that part, but I'm glad I did because that's not the vision I want in my head before I go to sleep. But
I was watching that shit during breakfast.
you should have known better too. I mean, you didn't need Appleton, did you?
But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'd much rather watch Total Bells than friggin' Monday Night Raw. Oh my god, Monday
I'll
Night
tell you.
Raw.
Okay, now next on our list, number 6 is the Heartbreak Kid, and this I
I'm
can't see.
I'm just a sexy boy, sexy boy. I'm not your boy. Sorry, I just I
No
don't know.
problem.
I just like the theme song and I have that as my ringtone. Don't ask why,
Wow.
but
Okay.
I'm just
To each his own. I respect that.
all right. But I can understand why Shawn Michaels and The Rock do had issues, man. And this is
Yeah.
one of the reasons why we never even got to have a match between these two guys. And it wasn't. I think one of the stories is when Shawn and Marty Jannetty, when they were younger, they wrestled at a show in front of The Rock's family or whatever, and they were being like disrespectful or some shit or
Yeah.
whatever. And also, I remember I heard one story that Sean, back then he was a huge politician, and him and DX or whatever. They tried to actually stop the push from The Rock and shit like that. And I think at one point Sean didn't want to have The Rock be a part of the WrestleMania. Main event for WrestleMania 15, I believe, and there's some backstage shit going on around that time too. Um, I don't really get why Sean is pissed off about Rock's success, but read on.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, I remember the interview where it was told that The Rock uh, has got resentment towards Sean because he felt Sean tried to hold him down or hold him back when he first got there. So see the Sean was a bigger star when The Rock first started out because remember Rocky Maivia, Shawn Michaels was
Mm-hmm.
still wrestling. He was still the main eventer. Rocky Maivia was just starting out, and basically he was shaking, smiling, shaking hands, and eventually he
Yep.
got booed. It wasn't until he turned heel and became The Rock is when things started to change. But said one would assume that in order to resent The Rock, a superstar would have needed to work with him or have been affected by his work in one way or another. In order to inspire such strong and negative feelings in his direction, Shawn Michaels was one of the biggest stars in WWE when The Rock made his debut. See, and therefore didn't have much to worry about in terms of the still very inexperienced Johnson stealing his spot. Nonetheless, rumors swirled that HBK was attempting to damage The Rock's career from the very beginning. First, to
Mm-hmm.
have his Intercontinental Championship reign truncated, and then trying to block Rock from participating in the main event of WrestleMania
Yep.
XV.
Yep.
The
Just
stories
like it.
sound like examples of HBK's trademark jealousy and political maneuvering, but things actually got quite a bit deeper than simple politics. Years earlier, HBK had allegedly made some sort of negative comment about Rock's grandmother herself, a wrestling promoter, and Rocky
Yeah,
had
that was the story.
yeah, and Rocky had always harbored some resentment of his own against Shawn as a result. Unlike many of the people whom HBK has since made nice with after his religious reformation, which I highly question, there have been there have been no stories about Michaels and The Rock reconciling, causing speculation that this might be one grudge Rock will never willingly forget. Well, if you dog somebody's grandmother, yeah, I wouldn't forget it either. And for years, wrestlers, fans, and every promoters, officials, and everybody alike always knew Shawn Michaels as the biggest prick that they'd ever met. Unless, of course, you're Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, X Pac, or Triple H, aka the Cook. But
Mm.
yeah, Hickenbottom, and look at this. I don't think that motherfucker's Christian at all. But stage man, are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is some grudge shit going on, man. It's weird. I thought they would probably they would probably, they probably made up by now, but apparently I don't think they are. But hey, it's whatever, I suppose. It's yeah, like I said before, it was just all came about with backstage politicking and all that kind of bullshit. So yeah.
Yep. Well said. And
But still, that kind of doesn't answer the question from before. It's because the list is talking about people who resent The Rock for his success. What does Sean have to resent his success other than the shit that The Rock has done in the WWE, or is it just that? Like, is Sean was jealous because of The Rock's success in WWE, or he's talking about uh, his overall career as a Hollywood actor slash whatever?
that's
Just
true.
saying.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is, most of the guys on this list, they can become movie stars themselves if they have a good agent. They could go to Hollywood. Any one of these guys could be action stars. I mean, Cena did 12 rounds in the Marine. I mean, now the action was good. Cena's acting was atrocious, but
Actually, I did not like the movie. I didn't like the movie at all. Just saying.
okay,
I didn't like 12 rounds or Marine. I only seen it once, like 10 years ago.
okay,
Um, so can't really say if it was good or not because I only seen it once. Not saying Cena's a bad actor,
you got that right.
but I'm not gonna say um WWE studio films is top quality either. They tend to make one of the worst films ever. Like, to be quite honest with you, I don't really understand of why make a WWE Studios film and why does every single of your movies are so similar. Too many action-packed gun movies. Most of them are friggin' either cops or military guys or whatever. Saying to myself, man, why does the WWE studio films tend to resemble a lot of the shit in the storylines you see on Monday Night Raw? all the same, all the same old shit. Oh God, F my life.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Okay, and now we go to number five, Randy Orton,
Randy Orton.
RKO out of nowhere. Yeah,
The hell?
virtually every superstar who harbors some sort of resentment for The Rock actually owes him a great deal for bolstering their careers and paydays with his extremely high profile appearances in WWE. A few of them in particular owe him for a whole lot more than that. Randy Orton's first WrestleMania moment came in 2004, only 2 years
Yep.
into his WWE career. Not only was he already facing two veritable WWE legends in The Rock and Sock Connection, but he also managed to win the match. The huge win propelled Orton from a rising star into a huge name in his own right, and he was world heavyweight champion by the end of the year. Apparently, Orton forgot about how greatly The Rock helped his career, and nearly a decade later, when he was interviewed by ESPN about the brewing rivalry between The Rock and John Cena, Orton dismissed the idea that The Rock was a better wrestler, claiming Cena would own The Rock and that Cena was 10 times the performer Rock could ever be. Orton and Cena are known to be quite close, so it makes sense he would support his friend in the situation, and yet the extreme nature of his words imply that there may be a deeper resentment at hand than the specifics of what Orton was talking about at the time. Stage man, your thoughts on that?
It's kind of shocking that you have Randy Orton actually get bit of resentment against The Rock. That's weird. Yeah, it is true that Randy Orton, one of his few big moments was at WrestleMania 20 in that 2-on-3 handicap match with Evolution and The Rock and Sock Connection. I don't know why he would actually be resenting to The Rock, even though it had really nothing to really do with him. I suppose it was just more or less just him defending his friend Cena. But whatever. Um, like,
Yeah,
I can't really say The Rock is like I can say he's a great wrestler, and Randy Orton's a great wrestler too. So in terms of the whole Cena Rock thing again. It's kind of one of those things where what I've heard is that a lot of the people in the locker room were for Cena, and not a lot of people were for The Rock, because I know a lot of Rock got a lot of resentment since coming back in 2011 and all that kind of shit from superstars and all that kind of shit. So, and Randy Orton could be one of them. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. Now we're getting to the top four. Number four, if you can believe this, I can see it, I guess, in a way, but it's kind of surprising too. Number four is Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, much like Randy Orton, it's probably that same shit too. But either way, I'm not gonna lie. I remember seeing on Twitter at one point. I think The Rock actually praised Dolph Ziggler. I think one time Dolph Ziggler posted a picture with him and Charlotte or whatever, and The Rock says something about, "Oh, look at here, the two." And this wasn't like sarcastic. He was actually praising like two of the best performers in WWE today or some shit, and towards Dolph Ziggler and Charlotte. And I was like, okay, whatever. I wouldn't really say two of the best performers today, but I don't know why the Dolph Ziggler would have any resentment towards The Rock other than just him coming back and main eventing WrestleMania and shit like that. And he probably was one of those people who say, "Man, why is The Rock coming back to take a spot from me?" and shit like that. It's probably one of those reasons, I suppose.
That's, I mean, and that's the thing. That's how these wrestlers seem to see it. Whenever he comes back, it's like, you're going to take my spot. What spot did you think you have? I mean, with or without The Rock, the fans don't think you're exciting. You're not the biggest draw, and for the most part, no one cares. So when The Rock does come back, I wouldn't hate. I would appreciate it, because it'll bring in maybe old fans and maybe some newer fans that could get a look at you. Now, if a lot of wrestlers aren't booked when The Rock comes in, that's something else, because maybe if you try booking all your wrestlers into some kind of action when The Rock does make an appearance, that would help too. So
That's why it's kind of one of those situations where you have wrestlers complaining about why is a certain part timer is taking their spot. And I'm all for creating new stars, and I'm all for having new guys being featured and shit like that. But at the same time, WWE is a business first. So they tend to go things in a way so they can draw money, and they want to draw in new fans. I think that's why they had The Rock come back, so he can, host a WrestleMania, main event a couple of WrestleManias. And guess what? When he main evented WrestleMania 28 and 29, they reached over 1 million buys on buy rate pay-per-views and shit like that, compared to the WrestleManias before that or even after that. So more people buying the pay-per-views, meaning you may even get more fans to watch your product. That's more or less a good thing. So they say, "Oh, look, The Rock came back, but look, who's that guy over there? Dolph Ziggler. Okay, he's interesting. Maybe I'll continue watching." And bam, that's
right.
and
So
that,
that makes sense.
it's a good thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So
But
again, it's one of those things. Maybe it's just jealousy, I suppose. But I don't know why people always say, "Man, The Rock should not be coming back," and The Rock coming back and shit like this is always a bad thing. No, it's more or less a good thing. Especially if you were to come back now and
yeah,
you would have had a final run, let's say maybe going in a feud with someone. Imagine how much views you can actually get on Raw or even on SmackDown or even pay-per-views or whatever. That could be something big. You know what I mean? Especially now that WWE is so desperate and getting a lot of viewership and all that kind of stuff. They're what are they getting? Like close to 3 million a week or less than that now.
yeah,
Less than 2.0 ratings. Just imagine if The Rock shows up one day and says, "Hey, I want to work with this guy, or maybe I have a feud with this guy." That could be
yeah,
something good. So yeah.
yeah. And the thing is, part of the story for Ziggler is Ziggler isn't so much upset WWE constantly shines a spotlight on The Rock as he is upset that the same spotlight isn't being shined on himself. Now, the thing is, it's not being shined on himself is because, to me, they didn't really utilize Dolph Ziggler's talent and his full potential. I think they missed out on a lot on Ziggler, as with a lot of guys. And see, I don't blame the wrestlers. You got to blame Vince. And think about this: Roman Reigns still a top guy. Look what's happened to him. He's still booed. But see, that's creative's fault with those bad promos and everything else. Now Ziggler can do promos and he can talk and he can wrestle and he can put himself over just like Damien Sandow did. But that will only take you but so far. And of course, Vince hates it when a wrestler is able to get himself over without a creative. Because Sandow is now Aaron Rex over in TNA. But Ziggler,
And
I
again,
believe,
it's just pride, I suppose. It's like, man, why is this guy getting over on his own without me? God damn it!
yeah,
They push him. Damn it, Steph, where are you? Yeah, it's weird when you have guys getting over on their own and it's cool. It happened to Zack Ryder, and the company was like, man,
that's another one.
damn,
Yeah, see, Zack Ryder, I
damn
think
it.
I deserve better because he was good, but his time is becoming past now too because NXT has got a new crop probably getting ready to get called up soon.
Well, he's on SmackDown now doing the whole
Yeah,
Hyper thing, so at least he's getting used on TV. And plus, yeah, I could say he's had a comeback year in a lot of ways because after that whole run with him fighting for the U.S. titles 5 years ago, he's never been the same and hardly ever been used on television ever since until like what, he won the IC title at WrestleMania, big moment for him, and it was cool. So there are people out there who still tend to care about Zack Ryder, and Zack Ryder can be cool. I'm not saying he should be main event in WrestleMania, but I'm just saying,
oh
you
yeah.
know,
Here's something else. Ziggler was quoted as saying, "I'm angrier than you can ever even imagine, because I
he's
want to
always angry,
yeah,
man.
because I want to be in that spot. I want a full time guy to be there every single night, doing what we do best, giving back to our fans." Ziggler also admitted he totally understood The Rock's status as a special attraction brings in millions of fans, but his comments speak for themselves as to whether or not he may harbor negative feelings towards the Brahma Bull. So there you go, right there.
Yeah, it's just it's Dolph Ziggler, man. Here's what I think about Dolph Ziggler, man, and I've said this before. I tend to feel like he is overrated by a lot of people, and I tend to feel like he is one of the more overrated guys you have on the roster. But he is a good performer. He is a good wrestler, but he's not good as a lot of people tend to think he is. Um, sure, over the past maybe couple of months, he's actually been a lot more interesting, and sure, I've kind of liked what he's been doing. But to be quite honest with you, I don't want to see Dolph Ziggler being flipping HBK ripoff 2.0. You know what I mean?
That's
And
true. Yeah,
just
I think
saying. And you're
I think he's much different than Shawn Michaels. He's got a different
Shawn
style.
Michaels was much like I remember one promo of Shawn Michaels. This is one of the times when he came back last year, and he said this to Seth Rollins was like, he doesn't like I don't he doesn't really get why guys like you try to emulate me and try to become version 2 of someone else. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
true. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just saying.
Well, anyway,
Just
moving on. Number three, got three left now. Number three is Seth Rollins, the architect.
what?
Yeah. Despite a general belief that the resentment towards The Rock is widespread within the WWE locker room, the wrestlers on this list have generally been speaking only for themselves in whatever quotes we have referenced throughout the list. Seth Rollins is the one superstar who hinted that he might not have been alone in his problems with The Rock when asked about one of his returns to WWE in October of 2014. Rollins was quoted as saying, "I mean, there's a little bit of resentment there. There's got to be, but it's mostly envy because we all want to have the level of success he has." Seth's words were clearly well thought out, and although he flat out admits to his resentment of The Rock, what he said is completely understandable on a human level. However, the resentment shined through as Rollins continued, and he mocked Rock for taking the cheap route and spending his return promo talking about the history of New York City in order to get a cheap pop. It's quite possible the specifics of his complaint said more about his real feelings than the milder way he worded them. and a deeper resentment against The Rock has been brewing in Rollins for quite some time now. Okay.
Again, it's yeah, at least the good thing is he admitted it that much like a lot of the guys, they want to be that kind of guy, and it's understandable. You know what I mean? But again, it's just more or less about jealousy. But Seth Rollins, I could see why Dolph Ziggler's complaining, but Seth Rollins, who is arguably the biggest superstar right now in WWE today,
Yeah. Redesign,
just saying.
rebuild, reclaim, and that isn't that his new shirt?
Yeah,
Redesign, rebuild, reclaim.
which I have a hoodie of that right now. Ooh, just saying, just saying.
And the thing is,
But
okay, yeah, okay. Now the top two, and Terrence, I think you're gonna love number two. Take a wild guess who number two is.
Triple H.
You're close, but let's just say I'm gonna give you another wild guess. He lost his first UFC fight, tapped out after 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, it's CM Punk.
Number two
What?
is Bill Brooks himself, CM Punk. Best in the
Oh,
world at what
Punk.
he does, except for
Oh,
UFC,
why?
except for
Why?
UFC fighting. If a person's
Wow.
career, yeah, if a person's career takes off thanks to their penchant for dropping verbal pipe bombs, it's only natural that this career would also explode in glorious fashion. CM Punk left WWE with a laundry list of complaints and kept them quiet for several months, ultimately revealing his many quibbles with his past employer during a lengthy podcast with his former friend Colt Cabana. Punk had been complaining quite a while before he left, though, and one of his first public issues with Vince McMahon was the decision to have Punk end his landmark 34-day WWE Championship reign to a part timer. For all of his irres, uh, irascibility, CM Punk is a consummate businessman, and thus his problem isn't really with The Rock in this matter. In fact, Punk was far less upset than over the incident than was first reported, although he has gone on record to say his philosophy on wrestling includes the world champion at the end of every show, not just every show the champ has the time to attend. Punk also felt that his matches with The Rock could have been better, though in the same breath, he also admitted he felt that was about almost every match he had ever wrestled. Okay, stage man, take it away with this one.
We've heard this same old shit that Punk has been telling. We've all heard it, and it's true. It's not really against The Rock. He's mad about it. It's more or less about WWE, trying to end his reign, his 434 day reign against The Rock. But to be quite real with you, man, I don't really understand what to be pissed off about. Like, I get why he was pissed off because he felt like WrestleMania 29 should have been his moment to main event WrestleMania, and I do agree. But at the same time, it was kind of one of those things where it was a lose-lose situation, man. It was like Punk was gonna end up losing the belt anyways, and plus, WWE was gonna end up doing a rematch with Cena and The Rock anyways. So it was just like he is it's kind of a lose-lose thing as well. And obviously I don't agree having Punk lose to The Rock twice and then going on to just put over the part-time guys. You know what I mean? With the exception of Undertaker, that I can actually understand, and maybe to The Rock to a certain degree. Overall, it's just more or less about WWE and how Punk tends to view WWE and how he views himself. He thinks he's better, what he's worth, than how WWE tends to treat him. So it's just that. Um, Again, it's just the same old shit. It's nothing really new.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is, CM Punk should feel that way as well. All of them should. I mean, I think a whole lot of them should have been treated better and given more because they had talent. Like one guy who left because of his injury. He's in ROH under a different name, but Evan Bourne, I think, could have had potential to go farther than what he did. He was really talented. I mean, he was a high flyer. I loved Evan Bourne. I loved watching all his matches in WWE. Uh, there weren't many, but like I said, he was awesome. And then eventually he got released after he was injured. So there you go there. I mean, and I think Evan Bourne was more talented than CM Punk. I think CM Punk had more charisma on the mic as well as a little bit of talent. But CM Punk now has no value, no stock because he went into UFC and got his butt whipped in the first round. So basically, even if CM Punk were to come back, not just WWE but anywhere, all the chance you would hear is "You tapped out, clap, clap, clap. You tapped out, clap, clap, clap." He has no value now, so it'd be stupid to come back to any wrestling. But hey, those of us who know Punk or wish him well, I wish him all the best. Now we come
I,
to
s-
the.
I,
Oh, go ahead.
I still think he's coming back. He's coming back to WWE. I've been saying this for the past 2 years. People are saying, no, he's never coming back. Trust me, they all come back. They all do.
Yeah, that's true. Dusty said it in the promo that guys leave WWE and shoot at other TV shows when they're on the air for a while, but when they're down on their luck or they're strapped for and they need some quick cash, they all come calling back to Vince. Punk might be
Bro,
an Punk might be an exception because the way he lost. And now look at this. I got a Twitter meme with Triple H's picture. I'm gonna send you also because I sent it to a WJ and on Twitter. I want you to see it because it's funny. It shows.
you mean Triple H was smiling and the TVs at
Yeah,
the background? Yeah, I seen that. That was the
that
funniest thing.
that's cold.
Ah,
That's why I'm pretty sure CM Punk saw that, and I'm pretty sure somebody tweeted him that meme. That's why
but
I
that's
said,
a but that's a photoshopped one. It's not a real one. It's
"Are you sure
photoshopped.
it's Photoshop? It looks real to me."
No,
That's
it's
really good
Photoshop.
Photoshop. That's really good.
Nah,
That's really good
it's
Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Thanks, buddy. I don't know.
Mm.
I, I,
Like, and plus, the reason why I say it's Photoshop is because the way it's just the lighting. And usually, if you're gonna take a picture of the TV, you don't really get a clear image. It's more or less brighter than it already is.
yeah.
So, if you know what I mean, if I take a picture of my TV and let's say you see Monday Night Raw, most of you could probably see is maybe the guys' heads for the most part. Is you see it's like all bright and whatnot. You know what I mean? So it's
All I
fake.
gotta say, buddy, that's a really excellent Photoshop. Probably the best I've ever seen. I mean,
It was funny.
I'd probably slam my computer because that shit was hilarious, and I hate Triple H, but that shit was hilarious. But now the
You
number
hate
one guy,
Triple H? It's Triple H.
yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
The number
yeah.
one
It's so
guy,
obvious.
the son-in-law,
So
the
obvious.
man with the keys to the kingdom, the sole heir to the throne.
The game, 14-time world champion. I'm gonna get back my world title. Stephanie, get back here. I want a son.
Or I want 3 kids.
Suck on. I got 3 daughters. What are we doing wrong?
And it's like it is often the case that the people that become, I got a problem with this page. This page
You,
keeps on.
you, you know how funny it is, man, that Shane McMahon and Triple H, who supposedly are related because, not related by blood, but, he is their brother-in-laws. It's
Yeah.
funny that Triple H have 3 daughters and Shane McMahon has 3 sons. Ah,
Hey, the Benny Mac Bunch. You may do a show,
uh,
the Benny Mac Bunch. Remember the Brady Bunch? We can have the Benny Mac Bunch.
yeah.
It is often the case that the people that become most jealous and resentful over the success of others are those that feel that they have somehow been overlooked or jilted. While it is true Triple H and The Rock actually started their tenures in WWE a few months apart, most of the
Yep.
wrestling world was in agreement that they became superstars on the same night when they wrestled an incredible ladder match against one another at SummerSlam in '98.
Classic.
Yeah, and the Triple H and The Rock rode the success of their ladder match all the way to the top of WWE. Yet both of them took wildly different career paths along the way. You damn sure got that right, in the words of Jim Ross. The one constant in their careers seemed to be that The Rock was always more successful than Triple H, despite Triple H doing everything in his power to make himself look funnier, stronger, or more dominant in the ring. Fans will
Hmm.
remember that Triple H once even considered an acting career, lobbying desperately to be cast as Thor, only to give up
Yep.
all film aspirations after his bus driver movie was a total bomb. The
The
full extent of
chaperone.
yep, the full extent of the Triple H's negative feelings towards The Rock are not entirely clear, but former WWE employees, including Bruce Pritchard, Brother Love, and Ric Flair, have both stated in interviews they firmly believe the animosity between the two is real and remains quite strong even as Triple H moves into his corporate position. Now, Sage Man, before I get your thoughts, this motherfucker married the boss's daughter,
Oh yeah.
has job security to the max,
Oh yeah.
doesn't have he's set for life, doesn't have to worry about anything. He's him and his wife are going to be the sole heirs to the throne. What are you jealous over the Rock at for? But Sage Man, give me
It's
your thoughts.
it's just stuff that's been happening before, like the article said, and it's just more or less you have these two guys who tend to who wanted to be the guy, and Triple H obviously wanted to be the guy, and he wanted to do other things that The Rock has done, and he wants to prove something. He always has something to prove, and unfortunately, in terms of his acting career, Triple H is. Didn't he also do like Blade at one point? Didn't he like
Yeah, he was
star
in
in
Blade Trinity. Yeah,
Blade?
and personally, I think he could still be a good actor. I think he has the actor.
he can't.
He sees the
He
right part.
can. He can be a good actor, but if you're gonna be under friggin' WWE Studios, no, you just can't. Or else you're gonna be doing random movies like The Chaperone and Inside Out. And no, I'm not talking about the kids' movie Inside Out, even though that was a much better version than the one WWE did.
That's for
Ooh,
sure.
I'm roasting. I'm roasting tonight, man. Ooh,
That's okay.
WWE Studios sucks. Why are they still making movies? But anyways, the point is, it's just more or less just these two guys, especially with Triple H. He always has something to prove. It's just Triple H always feels like he's better than The Rock, and he always tries to prove it. And yeah, and Triple H again, much like the whole John Cena thing. He's up there, one of the greats, but you know, it's kind of one of those things. I remember watching like a What Culture video, and it's like Triple H is like Triple H, he's good on the mic, but he's not great as The Rock. He doesn't. He wins a lot of championships, but not as much as John Cena. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things. He always has to play second best. It's just one of those things. Like Triple H was never focused as the top guy in the Attitude Era. He was always the top heel, but never like the top face. They tried it once, it just didn't work. You
Of
know what I
course,
mean?
yeah. Triple H.
Remember
Yeah,
2002?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my thoughts on it, though. So yeah,
Yeah, Triple H and Flair are both top heels. Even when Flair was in NWA years ago, and Triple H will always be a better heel than he will a face. But like I said, this is the guy who's the son-in-law. Everybody knows how he got to where he got because he married the boss's daughter. Of course, employees and all the wrestlers are not going to mention that. I mean,
that I
go
that I'm not gonna lie, I kind of disagree. About he only got to where he's at and him being success is because of him marrying the boss's daughter. While marrying the boss's daughter, which happened in what 2003, and no, I'm not talking about the storyline shit in 2003. He was already a main eventer at that point. Sure, you could say that marrying the boss's daughter may have had him get a better job security, but saying like, oh, he became a main event guy because of Steph McMahon, that I have to disagree, because he won the title in '99, and I think that was around the time that they first started dating or before they started dating, and this was when Triple H was doing the whole DX thing.
yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah,
I always disagree when people tend to say, "Oh, Triple H is only great because he married his boss's daughter."
well,
And you got
I mean,
and you gotta also remember one of the reasons why he's won so many titles is because one, the Attitude Era, the belt has been flipped on back and forth, and plus he was the top heel. So when you have an Austin win the belt, usually he falls back with the top heel wins the belt, and usually it's Triple H, especially in the brand split era, the Ruthless Aggression era, where you had two world titles. More often than not, it's always back and forth. You know what I mean? Like how
yeah, that's
many?
true.
So I can't really say Triple H was terrible. I can't really say you can't say Triple H is terrible, and the only reason why he was that is because of his relations with the McMahons and shit like because Triple H is actually really good.
Yeah,
He can cut a promo
you have to admit that because of his associations with Vince, it's helped his career and basically,
quite a bit, a
yeah.
little bit though, but
I'm just
not
I'm just
but
saying
not
at a certain point, at the point when he married Stephanie, you know things there was nowhere to go but up for him after he married Stephanie McMahon. It helped his
well,
career even more.
obviously that
Yeah,
I could agree. That
that's
I
what
could agree.
that's where the
Like,
resentment is basically. You know, if you're a wrestler and you got to marry the promoter's daughter to get where you're at, you know, then you must not think too highly of yourself, or you must not be that good. Or basically, I just think deep down in Triple H's heart, he's just greedy. He's greedy. He knew marrying the boss's daughter would assure
Triple
him,
H is a smart man.
yeah,
He's a
would you know would assure him not getting released, would assure his career after wrestling. Like I said, he's now in the office.
Oh
For the
yeah.
most part, yeah. So you know, I was just saying from that standpoint, you know. But yeah, I respect your opinion, and I get that.
Hmm.
Well, my final thoughts are, all joking aside, all insults aside, on the real, these people always in the rock because you know they're just jealous because they feel what he has they should have in some way or form. But the thing is, they don't understand it's the fans who make them what they are. And if the fans don't like you or don't want to watch you or think you're boring, you're not going to be The Rock. The Rock had all the tools. Like I said, he was a one of a kind and a millennia or a once in a lifetime guy. You know, they came along. He had all the tools. People wanted to see him, and now people want to see him in movies. And when he comes back, people still want to see him. Even of the new generation, the new wrestlers just don't have it. It's like you either have it or you don't. And that's just being real. That's my final thought. Stage man, what's your final thought?
I agree with you. It's just more or less jealousy, envy, and all that kind of shit. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's all for this. Stage man, thank you for joining. Like I said, this was a great topic, a great discussion. It's just something that I had to do. This is a little more meaningful than the last one I did. Last one I did was just for fun. This is one I did for open discussion and opinions. I wish I could have had more people on, but I wanted to do this, I guess as soon as possible, and you know, everybody's not always free, to do a show at the time. But
Yeah,
like I said,
you called me. You told me you're gonna do this at a perfect time though, because I was already uploading the video,
yeah,
which you can check out, I suppose. But and I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just talk about this, man. This could be actually fun. I was just gonna read it on my own, but it's like you're gonna
yeah,
do a video about it. Sweet.
I wanted to do a show with anybody who wanted to join, but not some people aren't always available on the fly, so that's cool. Like I said, if you got one partner or one friend, that's cool. But everybody, I'm the Professor Malik X. Like, share, subscribe, and also subscribe to my boy here, the Wrestling Express, the Raging Stage Man.
Wrestling Express, 570 subs, almost there. We got 430 more to 1,000. I'm
Cool.
just saying.
Yeah, there you
Just
go.
saying. And also subscribe to Malik's channel right here. Let's get those subs up, damn it, or you're fired.
Oh,
Just saying.
there you go. Yeah, little Vinnie Mac impression. But all right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace, and we out.